So we just seen the first glimpse of Battlefield 4 here in Stockholm, and with me I've got Dice representing here in Stockholm. Can you just tell me what you've been showing us here today?
Well, what you saw here today was the first reveal of Battlefield 4, which of course is something that is very near to and dear to us in the studio. You saw part of the prologue of the actual game, so this was not just a demo built for demo purposes, this is part of the actual game in itself. We're not announcing that much of the actual story right now, but this part of the game was set in Azerbaijan actually, and you were following a couple of the characters that you will see more of in the full game as well.
And you had a guy on stage as well playing this, so this wasn't pre-rendered or anything like that. He actually had a controller in his hand, and it was the PC version, right?
Yes, this was a live demo, very important to point out. Even though it's early on in the development cycle, we wanted to go out and really show live software. It was shown on the PC, yes.
So did you consciously decide to make a Battlefield 4 and not a spin-off of the third one? How did you what were your thoughts before number 4? Were you thinking of doing a 3.5 or something like that?
Well, I mean, the reason I get this question a lot, and it's regarding why don't you go back into sci-fi or back to World War II or something like that? Because we have done that with the franchise so far, but for us, it's really about the kind of stories that we want to tell, and we believe that we have a lot of untapped creativity here. We want to tell more stories in this setting with some of the returning characters from BF3 perhaps, but also with a bunch of new ones as well. And it goes back to what we said on stage as well, that we want to focus on the much more human element. We believe that this is the next big step into a new era of interactive entertainment, basically, where it's about not so much about the big war going on or the geopolitics or these kind of actually quite dull pieces of making a game or a war game specifically, but actually making it about the player's interaction with the characters very close to him or her, the squad mates, the human dialogue that exists, the drama that actually comes out of seeing these characters. That's where we want to double down on and really do something new here.
And there's many ways to make a game more human as well. I mean, you can do it with technology and graphics and other stuff. And in which areas have you been focusing on?
Well, we have a new version of our engine code that we call, surprise, Frostbite 3, which really helps us in many areas here. And without going into the specific rendering features, what it is that we can do, I mean, it's basically, you know, showing off characters in a better way. Anything from how they look to how they sound to how they act, you know, animation and everything. And it gives us a lot of tools to actually portray human beings in a much better way in the game, and you might actually have recognized some of the actors that we have, the real life actors that we now have in the game. Michael K. Williams, for instance, from The Wire is one of our characters, which what I would argue is a really good actor. His performance really comes across into the game as well, and that's something that makes it even more interesting to focus on this part of the game development.
And we saw a huge chunk of the single-player campaign. Did you consider showing us the multiplayer?
Well, we did, but we decided not to. Multiplayer is something that we're saving for other events, so to say.
All right. Can you give us some hint on what we're going to see there?
Well, we're DICE, right? So I would hope that you assume that it's something great coming out of multiplayer, but I can't give you anything more than that now, actually.
All right. So is there like a personal moment in the game that you are specifically fond of?
Well, there are a couple, and they are on one consistent theme, actually, and it's about when you feel that you get that personal connection with characters that I haven't felt before. There's one moment, for instance, in the end where you, Wrecker, actually fall out of a car that has been hit by enemy fire from a helicopter. Your squad mate Irish actually leans over and grabs the wheel to keep the car steady while you're hanging outside of the car. And you know, in this very intense moment, the dialogue between the characters becomes something that is really intense, and it's something that we haven't been able to do before, and that is very cool to see in the game.
So Battlefield 3 was very well received by the community. Have you got any feedback though from the community that you've taken on board and going to use in Battlefield 4?
Well, yeah, definitely. We haven't gone into the nitpicky details of community feedback, but there is one feedback that we've been hearing loud and clear, and that is actually something coming out of us as well, and that is regarding the single player campaign. That people felt that it was too linear, that it was too, we were grabbing too much control over the player, and that's something that we really want to change now, and we are changing with Battlefield 4. There are going to be parts of the single player campaign where we want to direct the player and show them specific thing and get the drama dialed up to 11, etc. But when you get into sections like the construction site, which you can see in the demo, that's where we are going to change a lot of things. That means this is where the elements of multiplayer actually are going to be introduced into single player, meaning that you will have things like open areas that you can play in whatever way you want to. Do you want to use a jeep, or do you want to climb up on a roof and go sniping? It's up to you how you want to solve the challenge at hand. You can use tactical elements like destruction, for instance. You have the vehicles, you have choice of weapons, etc. These kind of things that multiplayer Battlefield fans takes for granted, which we didn't manage to deliver in BF3. That's something we're really eager to show off now that we have inside the single player campaign of Battlefield 4.
So how much has DICE grown since the last game? And can you get too big? I was talking to some of your producers and the directors out there, and they said they wanted like a balance in the amount of people working on the game.
Well, we have grown quite a bit. I mean, as a studio, we have recruited over, approximately 100 people last year, for instance. So we've been growing quite a bit. At the same time, when you look at the actual team size of a game being built like Battlefield 4, for instance, I agree with them. There is a breaking point where the team starts to get very inefficient if you just keep growing on beyond that. So you have to watch that quite carefully. Yes, you do.
All right. So when are you shipping Battlefield 4? Can you give us a hint there?
It's coming out fall 2013.
All right. Looking forward to that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You'll back me up, right?